Well, with your incredible life story, you were sent to school in England. I think you were 8 years old. Is that right? Are you? I mean, that's a really young age to be sent away from home. And then you end up on the streets of London busking. You end up in Paris, and here you are in Tokyo, and everything else in between. With your incredible life story, and with this character, Captain Rugged, there's obviously a lot there to say. And you've seen so much, and you've seen the good and the bad everywhere. I guess.
Yeah. I think that, being sent away is always very good. I mean, I thought it was good. But now I realize if I have a child, I probably wouldn't send him away at 8 years old. But basically at 8 years old, you're forced to learn a new language. You're forced to get on with people. You're like suddenly a minority from being in a majority situation. You're in a minority. This is England in 1977 in Gloucestershire. So me and my brother were the only black people for miles around. We didn't speak any English. But you have to find a way to get on. I mean, naturally, you have to overcome your own reticence in getting to know people. So it definitely taught me a lot, and also learning another language at a very young age is very, very good too.
Yeah.
And then you're moving between cultures. I came home like 3 or 4 times a year for holidays and stuff, switching languages, switching cultures, switching behavior. You learn all this stuff at a very young age, like, oh, what is right here is actually wrong over there. What's wrong over there is right over here. So philosophically wise, your brain is actually functioning on a higher level. So I thought it was good for me. But I guess it was inevitable that I end up with characters. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Because you've got a few inside your head going on here.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Then about the music, you mentioned in that story, all these different wonderful genres of music that you've come across too, and you call your music blue funk. Do you still call your music blue funk?
Yeah.
Tell us about blue funk.
Blue funk is a way I lived. I guess really, technically, blue funk is a style of playing guitar. Because I started playing on the street in London, 88, 89. I left school, and I decided to go busk, because I felt like, well, that was one way to take your music directly to people. If I can make you stop, then obviously I might be doing something correct. So it was a way to practice. I was playing every day, all the time, and I found it the best way to make you stop from whatever you were doing. So I had to learn how to project my voice. I had to learn how to create a sort of a mini show on the street by acting crazy, acting out. I had a hat. I did all these things, but also found a way to accompany myself because it was just me. So I found a way to play the bass line and play the percussion line and the guitar line by necessity. I had to make a bigger sound. Because there's other musicians playing. This is Leicester Square, Covent Garden, Camden. There's other musicians playing with amplifiers, and there's traffic, there's noise. So I had to find a way to make a bigger sound and make it look interesting as well. So I found a way, what I call blue funk, which is basically I play the bass line, the guitar line, the percussion line, and I'm singing all at the same time. That is blue funk. And then it became a philosophy because in order to be able to do that, you have to be very, very still because you're doing 4 or 5 things at the same time, but you're not focused on any one of them. So blue funk is the way I live as well. Like that's just the way I think. I'm very ambient. I can be somewhere and I can be listening to doing several things at the same time, but also being very still. That's the way I live as well.
And funk is such a great form of music too. You say you've got to make people stop.
Yeah.
But funk has that element that stopped in the music too, which I think grabs people's attention.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have impact. You've got to find a way to, what makes somebody stop? What makes me stop from watching you out of hundreds of other musicians who are playing outside? I was playing my own music for one thing. It looked unusual visually. I looked unusual visually, and I was singing at the very top of my range, so my voice is quite penetrating, and yeah, it was the whole thing. It was just how I learned how to perform.
From the streets of London back in the 80s to the stages of Tokyo in 2014. What can we look forward to the shows here? What are you doing today? This time around.
What am I doing today musically?
I mean today, as in today, this year, today.
Yeah, right. Well, this is my 6th album, I think. I've explored the blue funk concept in all these different ways. The first album, Blue Funk is a Fact, established it. Second album, African Spacecraft, went into sort of a sci-fi black rock area. And then went into Liquid Sunshine, which is like sort of psychedelic, religious kind of sound. And then I went to Black Orpheus. This is where we're getting more into like Afro, more overt Afro elements, acoustic Afro music. Black Orpheus album. And then Nigerian Wood, specifically Nigerian. And then Captain Rugged, which is situated in the city of Lagos, a Nigerian superhero. So what I do nowadays on my live shows, basically I give an overview of that whole 6-7 album career. I express all the different ways I use the guitar, which is the blue funk thing, and then I play pretty much an overview of all the different albums. But the Captain Rugged album is very particular, so I think it'll be the central part of the concert. But around that will be all the old music, old songs. But yeah, that's what I do.
What happens next for Keziah Jones after Japan and after this album? Where do you go next, and what happens to Captain Rugged next?
I'm going to Paris because the album only came out last year, November, in Europe. Yeah. So I've got a lot of promotion to do in Paris. There's a couple of film ideas to do, actual acting. I'm working with different artists. There's a French rapper called Black M from a very well-known hip-hop outfit. I work with an artist called Ineka. Since I did my first album, there's a whole genre that's evolved that are Nigerians artists. Ineka, a girl called Asha, another girl called Ayo. They're Nigerians, and they make acoustic Afro soul. So I work with them. I work with Ineka right now on her new album. And I'm building a studio in Lagos, Nigeria. And basically touring, essentially.
You don't have much spare time.
No.
Just quickly about the acting. What sort of characters do you think you're playing? Do you know you're playing? Who would you love to play? What sort of character?
I've been offered 2 scripts. One of them is well, actually funny. They're both kind of sort of love interest type of characters, and they're both musicians. So I think.
Look at you, a romantic kind of guy playing music.
I mean, but one of them is actually really good. The other one I'm not so sure about. Yeah, one of them is actually well written, so I think I'll be good for that one.
Wonderful. So we might see this on our screens in a couple of years' time?
Possibly, yeah.
Great, great. Okay, back to the UK. You've bussed on the streets of London. For anyone listening to my radio shows, a lot of people do travel to the UK. Can you recommend a great British music destination if you head to the UK? Where do you like to go for music?
By the way, I'm playing in the UK on April the 7th at a place called Lexington, which is near Angel. That's a cool spot. And then where I go, when I'm normally there, I used to live in Shoreditch in East London. It's like 10 years ago, when it was actually really scuzzy.
Now it's the coolest place.
No, it's like really mad expensive, but the clubs are still there. There's a place called the Cargo, which is like a great music venue. That's in East London. And then, all the classic places have closed. I mean, like, the places that used to be around Tottenham Court Road, they kind of closed. Even in Portobello, in Ladbroke Grove, Portobello, some of those places are closed. But try the Cargo. East London is really where it's going on, the music and bars and stuff. And try the Cargo in East London. That's a cool spot.
Nice one. Finally, I sometimes DJ on aeroplanes, and I need some flying music. What sort of music do you like to listen to when you're flying?
I listen to Alice Coltrane a lot, pretty much all the time. But when you're flying, it's even better because she's got all this ethereal stuff going on with harps and bells and like drones and stuff. Yeah. Very beautiful. But Journey and Sashita Nanda album is perfect for flying.
Nice one. Can't wait to get in the sky next. Keziah Jones, thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much.